that, especially looking at this part of Africa, Nigeria, the uncertainties that has, arisen as a result of security. Even before the pandemic, we have been having these particular issues of terrorism, of insurgency, of different incidents that are happening actually in our own domestic tourism industry here in Nigeria. Many of you remember the Boko Haram. Many of you remember the northern eastern part or the northern part of Nigeria was a no-go area. We tour operators, we can't conveniently conduct tours to those particular parts of Nigeria. Security issues have always and will continue to impede the development, the promotion, the sustainability of tourism. Because when you cannot access destinations because of security incidents, what happens is that tourism may not become sustainable, especially domestic tourism. That was before the pandemic. Now, when the pandemic happened, then it brought to the forefront, my dear colleagues, the issue of safety. COVID-19 brought forward safety issues where we are now subjected to new set of procedures, new set of protocols. In fact, one expert was telling me, a medical expert was telling me that the COVID-19 protocols, washing your hand thoroughly with soap and water or using hand sanitizer, the use of face mask, I have one here, all right, covering into, your elbow. He said, actually, these are hygiene protocols that normally we should be observing, even if the pandemic is not here. Using a face mask when you are coughing, washing your hands thoroughly, these are actually simple rules of hygiene. So what COVID-19 has brought actually forward for us is it has made us to be more aware of safety, hygiene, and protecting ourselves against diseases. There are so many viruses out there, you all agree with me, okay? But COVID-19 virus is a pandemic and the death rate is enormous. So I am trying to tie it up together before our facilitator is going to come and take over so that we understand where security and safety is very, very paramount. It's the hottest topic that will not make domestic tourism to get to where it's supposed to get to if we don't talk about it, if we don't address it. So now you will now agree with me that after the pandemic was over, we were coming out of, we're actually coming out of the pandemic, and then, it is also, the pandemic brought attention on domestic tourism. But then EndSARS protest started, and then we couldn't move. I know a lot of tours that were cancelled because of EndSARS. Many people couldn't go to attend tours. It almost affected even Christmas because October 2020, the Lekki massacre happened because of EndSARS protest. And I very much remember there was a particular trip we were supposed to do, okay, to Lekki Leisure Lake that I co-organized with the Nigerian Lovers Forum, okay, which is one of my very good guys who is very hot on domestic tourism in Lagos, IBM Tours, that's the name. So we were organizing an hangout, and the hangout was November 6th. EndSARS Lekki massacre happened October 2020, and we had to cancel the tour because Lagos was on fire. You all know the story. The protest led into rioting, violence, hoodlums taking over the whole of Lagos. We almost didn't do the tour. Then something else happened. We were deliberating in the organizing committee. Are we going to have this tour? Are we going to postpone it or not? And then the same date we selected for the tour, November 6th, which was Saturday, after we have all agreed that we are going to go ahead with that program, Lagos probably has been put under control by that November 6th. Things were coming back to normal. Then suddenly we found out that it was the same date we had selected for this. It was the same date that was selected for the senatorial election in Lagos. There was a Senate election for a seat that was open in the Lagos, a senator from the Lagos senatorial district. And it was that day, it was the election. And Lekki is where we are going, and Lekki is going to be involved in that election. So you can see the situation here. NSAS protest brought unrest, election brought uncertainty. It wasn't safe to move. So in the wisdom of the organizing committee of that event, we all agreed, let's move this event to Sunday. Because of that situation, I couldn't attend physically. My plan was, if that event was to happen on November 6th, which was Saturday, all right, the National Tourism Transport Summit, I can see Ruby Travels is in the house. I invited her for National Tourism Transport Summit that was conducted, if you remember, by the Institute of Tourism Professionals of Nigeria. Okay, so it was 7 and 8. My plan was, I'll do the Lekki Leisure Lake tour on the 6th, which was a Saturday. And then on the 7th, I'll fly down to Abuja, and then I'll come and do the, because that particular National Tourism Transport exhibition for the entire year 2020 that will still happen physically. So I wasn't able to make it, but we could have had enough number of participants if there was no security situation. So having brought that up and try to set the tone for why safety and security is very critical and very, very important, it is on that note that I'm going to be sharing a few slides with you while we are still expecting our facilitator. Okay, so it's very, very important that we bring safety and security to the forefront. It's very, very, very important. So if you permit me to share my slide with you, and don't worry, this meeting, if you can notice on your screen, we are recording and also we are live streaming. So I can promise you that whatever slide and whatever material we're going to be sharing in this workshop, everybody's going to get a copy of that. I can promise you that. You don't have any problem with that. So I'll be sharing my slide with you, and let's quickly talk about one or two things that UNWTO has, pointed colleagues, dear professionals. We all need to look inwards. We have been looking inwards. We have been discovering a lot of sites. The Niger 7 Wonder project did a fantastic job last year. All right. TTP, tourism. We also, uncovered Almat farms last year. All right, which is a agricultural tourism site. So we did a lot of activities on domestic tourism last year. But lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, we are now facing another reality. We are now in another era, the post-pandemic era of killer S-men and kidnappers. So we can't do tours to some certain places. During the NSAS protest, we couldn't do tours in Lagos. Before the pandemic, Boko Haram did not allow us to do tours to some part of Nigeria, also the northern part of Nigeria. Now that kidnapping is everywhere, all over the whole country. So where are we going to conduct tours to? What do we need to do to make domestic tourism sustainable? What is the way forward? And this conversation, this workshop is actually a conversation that we all need to have and continue to have. I can see people are, coming in and going in. Mr. Prince, welcome back. Okay. I know you are dealing with network issues there as usual. All right. So our facilitator is not still in the room, but we are still waiting for him. My colleagues are, are speaking with him right now. So while we are all doing that, let's share some slides and then look at one or two things that UNWTO has to say about safety and security. So I'll be sharing my slide with you now. Please hold on for that. All right, in a moment. All right, please, if you can see my slide? Ruby Travels, can you give me a hand? Can you see my screen? All right, thank you very much. So it's the TTP TRAVELSAFE workshop, and as you can see in the next slide, the topic is safety and security for domestic tourism sustainability. Now, who we are actually, because we didn't get to talk about that, except maybe my one of my colleagues have actually done that before I came on to take over the reps. So who we are, TTP is actually an amalgamation of free industry stakeholders, okay, because we are actually stakeholders. So as you can see on the slide, TTP is an amalgamation, okay, a collaboration. It's a collaborative partnership project between these three organizations you can see on your screen: TPM Consulting, of which Ambassador Kayode Adeshola, the Vice President of NANTA, Abuja Zone, is the founder and the CEO. Everybody knows Ambassador Kayode, a very wonderful, fantastic icon and stakeholder, trainer and consultant for the tourism and travel industry in Nigeria. He is the founder and CEO of TPM Consulting, and TPM there is Tourism Plus Management Consulting. Then we have TBS International, all right, which I oversee as founder and CEO. And then actually TBS International is strictly based for promoting eco-friendly, SDG compliant travel and tourism in Nigeria and Africa. You know me already, all right. And then we have Nima Leisures. Now you have already met the founder and CEO of Nima Leisures. That's Michael Oyetunji. He was the one moderating before I took over now. So these three organizations, these three stakeholders in the industry, we came together in a collaborative partnership, and then we have the one and the brain behind this workshop. And this workshop is going to be a continuous one. We're going to be, we're going to come into you very frequently to talk about issues that actually affects our industry. And we have thought it good to bring this topic this time around on domestic tourism sustainability, how safety and security affect that. So the TTP Tourism Brand is the organizer of this project. And as you can see, it's a brand and a platform that we are using to showcase, promote domestic tourism destinations in Nigeria to Nigerians and the global audience as the preferred destination, among others, for business, leisure, tourism, and entertainment in Nigeria, Africa, and the Sub-Saharan. So the goal of the TTP Tourism Project is to make Nigeria the actual destination of choice, first of all for Nigerians, but then for the whole world. Because you all agree with me, we are all tour operators here. We are all travel and tourism professionals on this webinar. You know Nigeria has what it takes as far as domestic tourism is concerned. I am looking forward to the day when Europeans will also come and see our tortoise that we have a national park in Abuja, a 400-year-old tortoise, and they're going to pay $1,500 to watch the tortoise. Because I am very much aware, when I went to Rwanda, I spent a lot of money seeing animals. I know I went there on a farm trip, but visitors who see the wildlife in this particular part of Nigeria or of Rwanda, they pay over $1,500 to see gorilla, to have a breakfast with the gorilla. Isn't that, very, very funny? Okay, so we can also have that in Nigeria. That is the brain and the reason why we are formed TTP. All right. So we have a WhatsApp group which we used to launch this TTP project. It was during the lockdown. It was the same brand, but it was actually about two. So we have a Twitter and Instagram page. So if you want to know more about the TTP project, please follow us on Instagram at Tourism Plus NG. And we also have a WhatsApp platform called Tourism Plus NG. So now let's come back to exactly the reason why we are here today. Domestic tourism, safety and security for domestic tourism. What are the matters arising? Number one, why did safety and security become? Why did safety and security become so important for the development of domestic tourism? Next question. What are the main factors influencing security issues in tourism? Next, what are the key elements of tourism security and safety problems? Next, when they are choosing their destination. And that is very important because tourists will not go to a destination that is not safe. You all agree with me on that? They won't. Next is, what are the tasks and responsibilities of the actors in tourism? And when we say actors in tourism, we are referring to 4 categories of people. Number one, the tourists themselves. They are the focus. They are our primary customers. They are stakeholders as far as tourism is concerned. Number two, the people working in the industry. And when we say people working in the industry, we are referring to personnel, tourism industry personnel, the tour guides, the tour leader, the tour supervisor, the step-on guide, the travel agent. What is the role of the travel agent? What should a travel agent do? What should a tour operator do? We are the people working in the industry. We are the tourism private sector. What is our responsibility in this issue of ensuring safety and security? And then government agencies for tourism is the third actor. And lastly, the local community. So because these questions are very, very important, I'm going to give every participant of this workshop extra 2-3 minutes. I want you to put down these particular questions in your notes, because this is a workshop. It's not just a certificate of participation after this training. I didn't know if my colleague mentioned that, but there's going to be a certificate of participation that every person that has attended this webinar is going to be getting. So we have to do some write-ups. So I saw Prince from Ruby Travels with a pen. And so please, I'd like to give us 2 to 3 minutes to document these questions, because in the next slide, okay, I'll be taking you through the overview of what safety and security means. So let's take the next 2 to 3 minutes and answer these questions in our mind. But most importantly, let's document them. So I'll be right back in 2 minutes to continue with the next slide. Thank you very much, and stay connected.
Okay, I think I'm online now. Yes, I'm back now. Can you guys hear me, please? Okay, sorry, I don't know. It's just so terrible to have some kind of network. I don't know. I've tried two of my networks and it's just pissing me off. But it's good to be back. It's good.
Okay.
It's good to be back. Sorry, please. This is the facilitator trying to call me. I don't know. I think he's.
All right. So I'm back. I guess the 2 minutes I gave us and we also hopefully is going to join us shortly. We're going to continue while our four of you. Can you guys hear me? Miss Chidima? Can you give me a raise of hand? Can you hear me? All right. Thank you very much. Into details now about this issue on ground, which is the overview of what safety and security is all about. All right. And it's very, very important that we all, have a hand on this. Tourism is one of the significant economic pillars of many world countries. Additionally, more and more countries admit that. The number of people being able to afford traveling rises not only due to personal income, but also due to changes in the supply market. The world became the so-called global village, however, not always with positive consequences. Security issues around the globe affect tourism industry. Apologies.
Okay.
I'm back now. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Michael. I think I'm back. Epileptic internet network in Nigeria. So I'm going to go straight to the next slide. Safety and security have always been indispensable condition for travel and tourism. But it is an incontestable fact that safety and security issues gained a much bigger importance in the last 2 decades in tourism. And that statement is very, very important. The last 2 decades actually has brought safety and security to the forefront. And many of you will remember one particular incident changed the whole game as far as security is concerned for the entire travel and tourism.
Wow, it's been hectic. I don't know why this network
I
is terrible.
broke up again.
Honestly,
Network is very, very
very crazy
Not
here.
friendly at all. The network is not friendly at all. It's fluctuating.
not friendly, and it's so
At
unfortunate.
all.
It's so
They're
unfortunate,
too
and we are
bad.
actually
Just too bad.
too
It's
bad,
just too bad.
too bad, too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to manage it. We're going to just manage it. So I want to indulge. I want to seek everyone's indulgence as far as network is concerned. So if you see me disconnect, please just give us 1 or 2 minutes to rejoin. Okay. Thank you very much for your understanding. I really appreciate. And let me quickly inform you very, very fast that we have a special guest who is in the room right now at the moment. All right. Let me quickly welcome and recognize the presence of Madam Patricia Narai, who is the director of the Department of Domestic and Ecotourism from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Can we please appreciate Madam Narai, please? Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. Let's give her a round of applause, please. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me quickly say this. The TTP partners, we are in very much in tune with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, with the Office of the Director of Department of Domestic and Ecotourism. Madam Nara has been a fantastic mentor, a fantastic stakeholder of note, and she has been very supportive. And something is cooking, but I won't say more than that. So thank you very much, Director, Madam Narai, our very good special guest. She is a special guest of this particular edition of TravelSafe Workshop. Thank you very much and welcome on board. So I'm going to unmute. I'm going to mute everybody now so that we can have some decorum in the house. Okay, so if you can't unmute yourself, know that I'm the one responsible for that, so that we can have some decorum. So people that are joining in will not bring disturbances into the room. All right. Okay, so, and I'll be taking that slide from where I stopped earlier. So let me just share the screen with you. Okay, once again. And don't forget, we were talking about the last 2 decades. 20 years, in fact, 2001 to 2021 is 20 years today. And 9/11 happened, that attack on our industry by those 19 hijackers that brought in the age of terrorism. So terrorism has battered tourism, both on the global level, on the regional level, and even on a domestic level. While terrorism became the in thing at the global level, serious change. You know, that terror attack on 9/11 brought a lot of security measures, protocols, procedures. As an aviation training consultant, one of the subjects I specialize on is aviation security. I've taught aviation security even before the 2001 attack. And immediately after that attack, IATA came up with a course on aviation security very fast. I taught a lot of students. I have students that are working in different airports and airlines now with IATA's aviation security certification. Security became the in thing. Terrorism began to move against tourism seriously. There was a drop in tourist arrivals in the United States because of that particular you remember, we have our own fair share of terrorism when Boko Haram erupted 2010 into the administration of ex-President Goodluck Jonathan. No go here. So the last 2 decades has been challenging as far as security issues is concerned. So you can now understand why we are where we are today. So safety and security is actually a global tourism challenge. But for the sake of this workshop, we're not going to be talking on the global level. So I'm going to be domesticated because we're talking about domestic tourism. Because Boko Haram, unfortunately, now is one of the top 3 most notorious terrorist organizations in the world. Global. Boko Haram is a global terrorist organization. Unfortunately for tourism, unfortunately for the brand Nigerian tourism, and other parts of Nigeria that was accessible to us, the southern part, the southeastern part, the north central, the beautiful attractions we have in the north central part of Nigeria, Taraba State, Nasarawa State. These places have become no-go area because of the killer. That's not terrorism, actually, but the killer, and is another security issue. So I'm going to be domesticating to our own particular sector. What are the challenges we are facing and what we need to do? And then I'm going to open the floor for every one of us to now contribute based on what is on the slide. And I think even if we don't have our facilitator in the room, the slide that I have here, and it's very important to be prepared, okay? The slide I have here is actually very, very much enough. And let me give the credit of the content of this slide to UNWTO, because we were very, very keen on that. Myself and my team at TTP were looking at what is the authority source for our information as far as this particular workshop is concerned. So we went and, into the UNWTO library. So every content you are seeing on this slide, which will also be delivered to your email as participant of this training, is UNWTO's content. So we are looking at this particular issue from the perspective of UNWTO, what UNWTO have said about safety and tourism, safety and security rather, for domestic tourism, and we are domesticating it for Nigeria. That's what we are doing now. So I'll go to the second paragraph of this particular slide that says, changes in the world during the last 2 decades were enormous due to, and I want you to take note of this particular point I want to mention. These are itinerant safety and security challenges. So wherever you are now with your pen, I want you to begin to note every point I'm making now. I want to mention to you the particular issues that are currently at the forefront of safety and tourism, safety and security right now. So as I'm mentioning them, please put them down in your note. Terrorist Act. I told you about 9/11. I've told you about Boko Haram. Terrorism is still ongoing, and it's a bane for tourism. Right now, you all agree with me that the killer part of the Southwest is pushing Nigeria almost to a state of civil war, which we all are praying will never happen. Because if civil war happens in Nigeria, tourism, nobody, professionals, distinguished professionals on this platform, there are countries right now that are fighting wars. Let me refresh our memory. If some of you are aware, there was a war in Eastern Europe recently that just finished in January this year. Azerbaijan and Armenia just had a civil war. This is a war between two. Tourism in that place cannot try. We're in a war that just ended January. There was a truce in January, just recently in January. So Baku, being the capital of Azerbaijan, used to be a destination that people were going before the lockdown. So you can do 3 days Dubai and 2 days Baku, Azerbaijan. Nobody can go to Azerbaijan now. Wars, number 2. Number 3, natural, so one of those front fauna issues that affect tourism. The tsunami about 10 years alone, it affected the tourism. Reason there, okay, and tourism will not thrive anywhere natural disaster or fortunately for us in Africa, natural disaster is not something that we experience too much. We are lucky, but we are going through different natural disasters. No, earthquakes happen, volcanoes erupt. I remember the volcano eruption of Iceland that affected and grounded flights all over Europe. That was in the between 2011, 2012, 2013. The next one here is epidemic. On the issue of epidemic. So I've mentioned how many points now? I've mentioned 4 points now, and I want to be sure you are following me on that. Natural disasters, number 3. A past example I can give you is Ebola crisis. The Ebola crisis of 2014-15 that shut down West Africa was an epidemic that affected tourism. You remember Ebola came into Nigeria through a monthly for us, the Lagos state that gave, and there was a coalition epidemic. While Ebola was ravaging West Africa, the H1N1 virus was actually ravaging in the United States and also in South America. Then the last point here is pandemic. You all know what we are dealing with right now. So Ebola happened 2014, 2015, 2016. We came out of it. We handled it very well. West Africa handled it very well. All right. The coalition, was fantastic. And then nobody knew that the pandemic was going to happen. COVID-19 was going to happen. The killer virus was going to come in 2020. Luckily, and it is very important for me to see this at this point, and I want you to give me your attention now, because this actually is not in the slide, but this is, I know this, being an aviation professional, a training consultant, and a tourism consultant, I know that through every of the crises I have mentioned and the examples that I've given you so far, tourism always bounce back. Tourism always bounce back. When 9/11 happened, it was as if nobody was going to travel again because of the fear of hijacking and using aircraft as a weapon of mass destruction. But no, people didn't stop visiting new places, traveling for leisure, traveling for businesses. When Ebola crisis came, it looks like maybe people were not going to come to Nigeria or West Africa again. The tourism industry bounces back. And that is the reason why I am very, very sure that tourism will recover and will bounce back from COVID-19. Because I understand there is a frustration, a feeling of hopelessness, a feeling of complexities and uncertainties that is terrorizing the industry right now. But colleagues, professionals, distinguished professionals in this workshop today, I want you to have it at the back of your mind that we are in an industry that is resilient and we will recover. We will bounce back. But for now, let us focus on the low-hanging fruits, because what COVID-19 has done to us is that it has shifted our focus from outbound international regional tourism and shifted our focus on domestic tourism. And the only challenge we have with domestic tourism right now that will not make it sustainable for us is this issue of safety and security. And that is why we have brought it, and that's what we are discussing today. So I want you to mention for me the points that I have mentioned so far. Who should I choose to test if everybody was following me? Okay, I have Ruby Travels. I have Ismail Oyedeji. I have Chidima. All right, let me choose Chidima. Miss Chidima, I'm going to unmute you now, and I want you to tell me the 5 particular issue that we have mentioned now as far as safety and security is concerned. I want to be sure that we were following. Your mic is open.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to list in no particular order. Okay, so the first one is what we're currently facing, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. And then we have terrorist attacks, and then local wars, such as the killer headsmen issue. Then we have natural disasters. So these are the current issues that you've mentioned so far.
See from my hand that you are still speaking.
Okay, I'm actually done speaking. I don't know if
my network freeze here, so I didn't get you. So thank you very much. That was fantastic. So because I saw you writing also, and Ruby Travels, I'm going to open your microphone now, and I want you to give me the example I mentioned on the issue of epidemic. There was an epidemic crisis that we had in West Africa. So which particular epidemic was that? Please unmute the microphone now.
Are you hearing me now? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you for the privilege given. You mentioned
all right.
Ebola crisis and
Ebola crisis.
Yes, and that we experienced that crisis in West Africa, and that happened 2014, 2015, and 2016. And when that was happening in West Africa, yeah, what
I'm losing you, Ma, from my own end. I lost you, but that's very fantastic response from you. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate. So now you can mute your microphone for me. Thank you, Ms. Chidima and the Ruby Travels for your input. So kindly this workshop. So it's a privilege to be having professionals being attentive and following, because this is just all of us. So I'm going to pick on the next slide. And Mrs. Chidima, can you hear me? Can I see? Very much, everyone. Every one of our staff here and other participants that are also actually connecting with us. Breakdown of internet I will switch back to MTN. We are going to do this today, all right? And everybody will be fine. And I can acknowledge the presence of Briggs Travels in the house. Madam Namure, thank you very much for joining us. The director of the department is the Haran of information. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Madam Namure is one of our executives of Nanta Abuja Zone. I'm here to say that. So Madam Namure, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to continue on this particular workshop. So it's been very instructive so far. So we're going to look at security asset. When we say security, what are the particular incidences of security that affects tourism industry? All right. And this definition or this content is from UNWTO. I've said that again. And it's not friendly today. So safety and security are vital to providing quality in tourism. And it should be an overriding objective of tourism destination. Every tourism destination, especially domestic tourism destinations, must now be safety and security conscious more than they were ever before. Now that COVID-19 has brought the reality of domestic tourism to the forefront. So we must be safety and security conscious more as tour operators, as travel agencies, and even the tourism site owners must be safety and security conscious, because safety and security is vital to the quality of tourism. It should be an overriding objective. It's a priority. I'll continue. According to UNWTO, the issue of safety and security is very important to both the image of a tourist destination, number one, and this one. The image of the tourism destination is very, very important. Everyone has two incidents of 2019. I think it's 2019. All right, we all remember that. 2020, this January, there was an incident at Victoria Falls of Zimbabwe, the popular Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. A tourist fell into the gorge from that steep gorge and died. That happened in Zimbabwe this January of 2020. So these incidences of safety and security are very, very key, because once a security incident happens at a safety incident happens in a tourism destination, the image of that destination is affected. And that is why Boko Haram is not good for the image of Nigerian tourism. It's not good. And I wish Nigeria is a country that prioritizes tourism. Fantastic work that the Ministry of Information and Culture has been doing so far. Fantastic. But thank God that we have our distinguished special guest in the person of Director of Domestic Tourism Department in our midst. And she represents, she's come. We have kidnappings, we have killer herdsmen, we have Boko Haram, and then safety on the other hand also. Incidences of lack of safety consciousness, safety incidences will not allow visitor satisfaction to happen. So those two things are very key. Image of a tourism destination, lost a partner that destination and will not be satisfied. So there are 4 possible generators of a given security situation that might harmfully impinge on the tourism system. So I have 4 types of security-related issues that we must pay attention to. And I gave some examples also. So when you mention security as it affects domestic tourism, we have 4 things on our mind as far as this slide is concerned, as far as UNW. WTO's curriculum is concerned. Number 1, crime. Showing you some videos by IATA today. That's where we're going to round up this workshop. IATA has some safety tips for us, especially as related to COVID-19 and how travelers should behave and protocols for COVID-19 for safe travels, especially that's what we're going to be rounding up, because as an aviation training consultant on the TTP Tourism team, perspective to domestic tourism, because this is what matter was that none of us could do domestic tourism during the lockdown when both international flights were suspended and domestic flights were suspended in the lockdown. And one of the things I was very, very happy for was that when the PTDF, the Presidential Task Force of COVID-19, very fantastic work they have done for the COVID-19 reaction, response, control. Last year, 2020 was a fantastic year. The leadership of PTDF did a fantastic job. They opened domestic aviation first before international, because domestic aviation is very key to domestic tourism, because aviation is the wings of tourism, connect people to places, and about people visiting destinations and having experiences, memorable experiences. Tourism is all about destinations and experiences. And one of the experiences is the transportation. Air transportation being aviation, all right? So when you have situations where a tourist's luggage is being pilfered, valuables stolen from their luggage, that's theft. Visitor satisfaction is already affected for a tourist. Hijacking of an aircraft can also happen at a domestic level. These are crime-related incidents. Kidnapping. Unfortunately, we have kidnapping in Nigeria now. It is, in fact, kidnapping has been termed by the media as another pandemic in Nigeria, if that is allowed. It's not for tourism. We are not going to have any incident that will focus on tourism, because it will be very, very bad for the particular push we are all doing right now for domestic tourism. So we are fasting, we are praying, and then we must act to make sure that no tourists, domestic tourists, is kidnapped before the Nigerian government will take hold of this situation of kidnapping that is rampage all over the country. It must not happen to any group of tourists, because that will badly affect our push that we are giving to domestic tourism as the tourism private sector in Nigeria today. That takes me to terrorism. We've talked about terrorism. Many of you remember the Nairobi hotel bombing of 2012. Okay, Al-Shabaab is the name of the terrorist organization that went to an hotel in Nairobi and bombed the whole hotel. Tourists were there. Tourists uses accommodation. The accommodation experience was spoiled, because one of the experiences that tourism brings to us is the accommodation experience, the transportation experience, then the experience at the destination. If any of those experiences is tampered with by security threats, hijacking of aircraft, pilfering of visitors' luggage at the airport, thank God we don't have that in Nigeria. Kudos to FAN and NCA for doing a very fantastic job. It's happening in different parts of the world. Visitors' luggage is being pilfered. Valuables are stolen. But now we have kidnapping. Another crime related incident that I missed is cybercrime, hacking. You know, there was a time in 2019 or 2018 that something happened that has to do with a cyber-related issue that happened to British Airways, and they said that the MasterCard details of several clients, travelers has been tampered with, and people were advised to block their MasterCard and get a new one. I've forgotten the airline that was affected. I think it was BA, or I forgot it. That was a cyber threat. That's another trending crime-related issue. But fortunately for us in Nigeria, the EFCC, the security agencies are on top of the game when it comes to cyber security in Nigeria. Nigeria, I must tell you, is not all bad news, please. And we must very much be aware of that, okay? Nigeria's security architecture against cybercrime is on top of the game. It's top notch, and I give it to them. Because EFCC has been doing a fantastic job. The cybercrime unit of our police department are doing a very fantastic job when it comes to combating and inhibiting cybercrime in Nigeria. Fantastic job. So all of us can do transactions safely. Imagine if our banks are being hacked and our clients' tickets, the money, the fees they will pay. Imagine how many transactions we do every day, paying airlines for domestic travel for our clients. That all these transactions are safe is the work of the cybercrime detection, cybercrime security, our cyber security department, to make sure that all our transactions are safe. So we don't have cybercrime related issues against tourism industry, although there are Yahoo boys, spoiling the image of Nigeria with their, different cyber incidences, cybercrime incidences outside Nigeria. Some of you know, I don't want to mention any names here, but because this is the workshop for security in tourism, but I must mention cybercrime as part of crime-related incidences. But Nigerian security architecture, the security opportunity, the security ecosystem of Nigeria is top-notch on cybercrime in Nigeria. Fantastic. So the same competence they have given to cybercrime, we want them to give it to the issue of kidnapping and the killer herdsmen and the issue of Boko Haram. Because our security agencies in Nigeria, they are professionals, they are on top of the game. It's just that we need to make sure that security issues religious coloration. That is not what we need. Because as tourism professionals, Wow. I just noticed that my microphone was muted. So sorry, everybody. And I was talking. So sorry. So what I was saying earlier was that social and political unrest is the last particular point I want us to take note of on the slide. Because during the EndSARS protest, maybe you missed the part also when I said you should all make sure that by the time I'm going to open the room for the director to speak from the Ministry of Information and Culture, I want you to know that she will be making her own remark on a personal note. She's not speaking on behalf of government, neither is she speaking on behalf of the ministry, but this is a training workshop and she's our special guest. So whatever comments or remarks she will make, please do not receive it as official remark or contribution of the government. She will be speaking on a personal note, giving her own reaction to the issues that we are discussing. I also mentioned that in case I was muted when I said that. So Madam Narai, I'll be coming for you very shortly. Just let me finish up on the issues on the slide. So social and political unrest is also one of the major issues that we must focus on as far as security for domestic tourism is concerned. Because every time there is social and political unrest, tourism activities cannot take place. The EndSARS that happened 2020 grounded tourism also, grounded domestic tourism. Why? The reason is very simple. Throughout the period, the 2-week period of the protests were held in different cities. Protests were happening in Lagos, protests were happening in Abuja, protests were happening in different parts of the country. So tourism was grounded. Nobody could pack tour. All the domestic tours that people plan, we just came out of the pandemic then, and domestic tourism just rebounded. And then EndSARS started, and people had to cancel tours, postpone tours. I still have clients that we had tours that we couldn't actually do that were fixed for October. Those tours were canceled. Social and political unrest is not also good. The Lekki shooting of 2020, how hoodlums took over the protests, began to vandalize properties. Look at the level of damage that happened in Lagos. So that is also a major issue. The reason is because we needed to bring this up because election is coming again. And in Nigeria, unfortunately, as we move towards election, we begin to have political incidences, political unrest. So we are fasting, we are praying that we're not going to have that. 2023 election will be very peaceful, just like 2015 election was peaceful. And then we had a transition from one party to the other. Okay, 2023 election must be peaceful because tourism must be sustainable. Domestic tourism that COVID-19 has brought to the forefront of the fora now must be sustainable because these issues will not make our domestic tourism to work. Because we don't want to make while we are pushing and promoting those tourist sites, one security incident, one safety incident can destroy our effort. And don't forget that security incidences and safety incidences or safety issues will affect the image of the tourist destination, and it will definitely destroy visitor satisfaction. So this slide is very, very instructive for us. And then on the level of safety, we have identified 2 important points as far as safety is concerned that we must also pay attention to, and that is the epidemic and the pandemics. So those 2 points on the aspect of safety is the major issue. Anytime there is an epidemic, there's going to be problem. Every time there is a pandemic, there's going to be problem. But let me say this to us. As far as Nigeria's case study is concerned, we have done very well with Ebola situation. We did very well. Okay, we're on top of the game for Ebola. Now we are on top of the game for COVID-19. And like I said earlier, I've reiterated again and again, tourism has always bounced back from any security or safety incidences at the global level. We bounced back because domestic tourism, regional tourism in West Africa was affected with Ebola. The rules have changed. COVID-19 has come again. Travel procedures, travel restrictions are everywhere. So the procedures for international travel has changed, and even domestic travel. You have to wear a face mask now. You have to wash your hands regularly. You have to maintain social distancing. The industry has changed, but the industry will recover. So I don't want us to lose our appetite for promoting tourism at the domestic level. And that is our vision, that is our passion, that is our assignment at TTP Tourism. That we don't want professionals, the tourism private sector in Nigeria, to get discouraged or to soft pedal because of safety and security incidences. And that is the reason why the conversation needs to be brought to the forum like this. We need to speak about these issues. And we need to be able to get the attention of government and let the government know that we are concerned about safety issues and security issues. And also, we need to do our own part as professionals, educating our client, making sure that they are very safe. You don't plan any tour now in Nigeria without making security arrangements. Let me say that again. Don't plan any tour as a domestic tour operator, as a tour planner, pushing and promoting tourism. We must and cannot, because of the ecosystem now, as far as security is concerned in Nigeria, we can't plan in domestic tours without making arrangements. And one of those things we can do is to get the community involved. We were having this discussion with my colleagues at TTP, and one of the things that came up strongly as a solution that we can use, a immediate solution that we can actually apply on this particular issue, is to work with the local vigilante, the community vigilante. That community policing that the vigilante can provide is very, very key. So if you are going to plan a tour to a particular destination now, you want to make sure that you carry the community along and you work with the vigilante. Not only that, you have to work with the security operatives. So it's nothing wrong now. It's not going to be bad. It's going to be professional when you are planning any tour right now to carry the police along. It's very, very key and very important, because the safety of our tourists, even the Nigerian tourists, because don't forget, we are promoting Nigeria first for Nigerians. And that is the push right now. Because if more Nigerians visit Nigeria, the tourism revenue that we are going to be having circulating is going to be massive. I remember that was one of the things that was on the very heart of my national president at the National Association of Travel Agents of Nigeria, NANTA, Madam Susanna Poriaye, during the lockdown of last year. Okay, she was a constant panelist on my TBS webinar, and one of the things she was pushing very strongly is we need more Nigerians to visit Nigeria. So I must credit her for that statement. That statement actually came from her. She was the brain behind that. So if more Nigerians are going to visit Nigeria, visit our attractions, and if we are going to promote and also secure our tourism revenue from those domestic tours, we must carry security operatives along at the level of the police and at the level of the community vigilante. And then we must be advocates of safety tips, safety protocols for the pandemic. No tours should be organized without people wearing face masks. No tour should be organized without people having to maintain social distancing. We must make the demand on our tourists to abide by the COVID-19 protocols. And I think we have that COVID-19 protocol for domestic tourism in Nigeria. There is a protocol now for domestic tourism that is available by the NCDC, the Ministry of Tourism at the federal level has made it available, the PTDF has made it available. So tours are still happening. Thank God that the second wave of COVID-19 has not brought us into another lockdown. Okay? We are very grateful for that. I remember when NANTA took a very strong position on that. When the second wave started, that no, we cannot ban, don't ban flights. Please, you cannot shut down aviation again. We will maintain protocols. We will wear our mask. We will enforce, we will educate our clients, our tourists on applying and following the COVID-19 protocols. Please don't shut down aviation again. And we thank God, government was able to listen. We didn't have another lockdown. So now that we don't have another lockdown, it is our job as tour operators and travel professionals to make sure our tourists follow all the protocols. And let's carry security operatives along for our domestic tours. That extra amount of money we're going to spend on carrying the police along, police escort, vigilante, community vigilante escort, it will not kill our profits. It will make our business sustainable in the long run, because the sustainability of domestic tourism is the goal of this workshop. So what will be sustainable is for us to make sure that that extra Nigerian naira that we're going to spend to carry along the police and the community vigilante to provide security during our domestic tours, it will not affect our tourism naira. No. It will make our business sustainable in the long run. Because when we can protect, let me show you that slide again for the last time. When we can protect the image of our tourist attractions and provide visitor satisfaction, that is when our domestic tourism can be sustainable. And I'm very much aware, I've been informed that our facilitator is now in the room in person of Ambassador Austin Peacemaker. Thank you very much, Ambassador Peacemaker, for joining us. I'm making you co-host now so that you can use a microphone. All right. Also, I will bring in my particular colleague, Mr. Michael, all right, the CEO of Newma Leisures and Travels, to bring on our facilitator. Mr. Austin, give me a moment. I need to bring on Mr. Michael to introduce you to the house. And you're going to just talk to us for 10 minutes because time is not actually on our side. This meeting was planned for 2 hours between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Now we are 11:30. So we've done 1.5 hours. We have 30 minutes more because we want, after you have spoken to us, Mr. Ambassador Peacemaker, for the next 10 minutes, we want to receive the remark of some of our participants. First of all, our special guest for today, in person of Madam Narai Patricia, Director in the Ministry of Federal Information, Ministry of Information and Culture, will be speaking to us. So, Mr. Michael, the floor is yours now to be our facilitator. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Captain. I'm sure everyone can hear me. Okay,
Yes.
Captain.
Yes, loud and clear, we can hear you.
It's like you still shared our screen. Can you make it a bit so that I can be able to interact visually?
I'll stop the screen sharing.
All right. So, okay. So I really want to appreciate Captain for everything you've done. You've really covered up. Sorry, guys, I had to go off. Sincerely, it was very difficult for me to connect. I had to go and reload another data, just to make sure. Fine. Thank you very much. We have with us Ambassador Peacemaker. For those of you that weren't with me when I introduced Ambassador Peacemaker, he's a youth ambassador with the ECOWAS Council, ECOWAS Youth Council, and is a member of African Union of ECOSOC Peace and Security Cluster. He's widely traveled, and I tell you that this man is a bridge between the civilian and the military. He has worked with a lot of high and mighty military personnel. So I'm humbled and I'm very excited to bring up Ambassador Austin Peacemaker, my friend and brother. Please, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, Mike. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I don't know whether you can hear me. If you can hear me, just wave. Let me be sure that you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear, Ambassador Peacemaker. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Sorry, first and foremost, I must apologize for the bridging in my network. I tried all my network and I had alternatives. I have options, but I don't know, they were not connecting. But I didn't give up. I kept trying until I was able to log in again. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yes,
I'm here now.
That's the fighting. That's the fighting spirit, Peacemaker.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now let's just go straight into these and have ourselves educated on. Now, There was a circular that was passed across from the US government sometimes in 2020, I think around September. And I have it quoted here with me, and I will just read it out. It says, people should not travel to Borno, Yobe states, and northern Adamawa states due to terrorism. They should not also travel to Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna, Kano, and Yobe states due to kidnapping. Then they should not travel to other coastal areas like Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River State, Delta, River State, with the exception of Port Harcourt, due to crime, civil unrest, kidnapping, and maritime crime. Now, this is when you take these states in isolation from the 36 states of the Federation, hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Okay, fine, good. So now, taking these states in isolation, you will see that they've already put a red flag on a lot of these states that we go to, for tourism. For instance, you talk about Bauchi, you have Gombe, you have Yankari Games, reserves in this area, you have Kaduna, you have Kano, you have Yobe, you have Adamawa. So now, Peacemaker, you've traveled to these regions. Now, from your experience with the military, because I know you do a lot of detailing with the military, you've been to Sambisa Forest, you've been to where the things are happening. What can you say about the security state of the nation? We all see it in the media, but let's hear from you as a participant and a stakeholder in this. Can we hear from you?
Okay, thank you so much. Before now, I would have said that yes, that security is not, it has not been the way it has been painted in the Northeast. Before now, I have been to the Northeast during the period of this crisis. One interesting thing that stand out that I think every one of us need to know, especially those of us that have interest in tourism, and thank God that is why we are here, is that, do you know that in Maiduguri right now, currently, where the counter-insurgency war is going on, hotel is one of the most expensive places in Maiduguri currently. Why? Because of the foreigners. We have so many white people, many people from different parts of the country, especially that are into humanitarian programs and activities, who have occupied all those hotels. Now most times when you even go to the hotel, I even faced a scenario that I paid for an hotel, my money was returned back to me because a foreign NGO has already dropped money in dollars. That is in Maiduguri. So we began to ask ourselves that, okay, these people bring out reports and say these places are not safe, but we still find out that they are one of the major occupants in all the hotels in the Northeast because of the foreign and humanitarian NGOs that are going on. That is what I saw before now. But currently, we know that security has become a very huge burden and concern to us as a country. Just this morning, we got to hear that another group of girls, close to 300, were kidnapped just this morning. I think that is a serious concern for us as a country. And with the report you read out, yes, every citizen, a well-stable society or country or state ensure the safety of their citizens, both within and outside the country. And I think that's what those countries are doing, to have generated reports to say, oh, these are security alerts. Be careful when you're traveling to these places and all. And that is a concern for us as a country because we are losing money. Tourism is a very big business. And when countries begin to give alert to their citizens on some certain states in our country that these places are not safe, the report you read is not just, we're not talking about like 2 states, we're talking about like, you read like close to 10 states from what you read, if I'm not wrong. And that is a concern for us as a country. And I think this is why we're having this conversation. Yes, these places have security issues. When you are going to these places, you need to be very, very careful and all, so that you will not fall victim. Even those that are not even foreigners, even within us, people that even fellow Nigerians who have traveled to all those places, we have had people being kidnapped and all. So it has become a very huge concern to us and all. But I have been to all those places. I have seen all those scenarios and all. And you can't get like when I went to Maiduguri, life was normal. Activities were booming. I went as far as Bama. That is not even the first time. That was like the 8 to 9 times that I was going there. And the life were going on. I went to the market, had commercial engagement, bought things from there, even bought a lot of fishes and sent back to my parents and all. Life were going on as normal and all because of the military at that point have been able to limit these Boko Haram terrorists. Before the bandit became out of hand. Limit the Boko Haram terrorists to some certain locations. So some certain locations around the fringes of Lake Chad. So they were not able to come to the town. Most times they tried to make effort, but they are not able to come to the town. And so life were going on normal. But recently, we had that they were trying to invade Maiduguri and all. But thank God for the military, they were able to overpower them and all. So these are the issues we're having in all those places. And I feel as stories, we need to know all this.
Okay, so now thank you very much for that contribution, Peacemaker. Let me just put this up to you. You see, can you conveniently say that as the war against insurgency and criminality and all vices that are inimical to the well-being of tourism in Nigeria, can you relatively say, with your involvement with the military and the civilians, can you say that we are winning the war, or there is a light at the end of the tunnel, or we are relatively hopeless? Okay. Now, just to guide you, because you can see that recently you can see state governors actively negotiating with terrorists and hoodlums and criminals, just in the bid to get people released from captivity. What can you say about that?
Wow, that is a tough question to answer. But the truth, I will paint a picture. First, we need to understand that when the Boko Haram crisis started, they were able to penetrate even beyond Maiduguri, beyond other northern states, even as far as coming to Abuja. Bombing police headquarters, one of the epitome of security in the nation. Also bombing United Nations. Now, their plan was also to bomb Aso Rock. Their plans were also to extend as far as Lagos, Osun State, Oyo State, to every part of the country. But when you see that is not possible, it's because there are people behind the scene running around the clock, fighting, losing men, losing their life to ensure that this doesn't get out of hand. So for me, I will say for the effort that they are able to limit these people to some certain parts, which they only come out once in a while to come and engage, look for a little gap, a little space, bridge. And they just take out the bridge and just you maximize the opportunity and all. But for the fact that they are able to limit these people, they have not been able to have their desire to be everywhere all over the country. As a matter of fact, there was a particular period that they were raising their flags in some local government. But right now, there is no local government. There is no local government right now that is being controlled by Boko Haram. The last one we know that they were occupying, the military went there to engage them, and a lot of people were killed. I saw the videos. I even stayed out on that fresh video this morning. So I might not say that they have won the war, but so far, when it comes to Boko Haram terrorists, I will say they are engaging the war and they are gaining ground and they are winning it day by day. Because we need to understand that terrorism and insurgency are two different things. I'm currently doing a postgraduate program in Nigerian Defense Academy in the Department of History and War Studies. And over time, we have argued terrorism and insurgency are two different things. Terrorism is an ideology. How do you engage ideology with a gun, with tanks, with bombs? You can't fight that physically with weapons. That is an ideology. But insurgency is when a group of people, because of their ideological belief, now decide to take arms against the state and say, we are going to fight, we'll keep raining terror and violence and killing people. That is insurgency. And the military are engaging those insurgents, those criminals, those hoodlums. But terrorism will be with us for a very long time. It's all over. Every country that has had issue with terrorism, go and find out. They are still struggling little by little. They are still sometimes you see somebody will just they'll say a suicide bomber was caught, or somebody attempted to bomb a stadium. If we France, we know what happened in France. So these are even advanced countries because it is an ideology, it's a mindset. And that is what the initiative we brought to the military, that's why it's yielding result. We say we can change this narrative, we can counter this narrative. So that is the side of terrorism. That is the side of terrorism and insurgency. But for the current bandit, the farmers and elders clashes that we're having in the country, it is a sad one, saying that governors will go and be lobbying. You don't negotiate with criminals. If you're negotiating with criminals, then you're encouraging every citizen to become a criminal. Because at the end of the day, it will be a win-win-win for everybody. So everybody will say, oh, so I engage in crime. When I engage in crime, then we are going to come to a round table and discuss and they'll compensate me. That means you encourage everybody to pick arms. There are so many people who are unemployed. There are so many people who are unemployed. It's not so you cannot in one certain region because they are taking up arms who want to negotiate. For me, I think for bandits, people who have raped our women, who have kidnapped our children, who have kidnapped different people, even low and mighty, I feel there's nothing to negotiate about, because negotiating is a symptom that we are seeing our security architecture has failed. Our security were trained, the taxpayers' budget and money or taxpayers' money was given to them to engage, to fight, to attack every criminal element that stand against the state. So when we start lobbying and negotiating with bandits, people who kidnap, who rape people, and then we sentence a common criminal who stole fowl or who engaged in this to years in prison, then we are being unfair. So I think for me, I feel that negotiation is not an option. It's sad, it's bad, and I will never support that.
Okay.
Very fantastic.
Okay.
Mr. Michael,
thank you.
If you allow me, I'd like to throw a question at Ambassador Peacemaker on that issue of the banditry and the kidnappings. What do you think, Ambassador? What do you think is the role of community vigilante when it comes to this issue of banditry and kidnapping? Because especially, you know that this workshop is targeted at domestic tourism. Is it okay for us as tour operators and travel professionals to go with police escorts on our tours and engage community vigilante on ground, especially on this? Because when a tourist gets kidnapped, it spoils our business. What will you say as a security expert on that particular action? Thank you, sir.
Okay, security measures. That is a very good question. Thank you, Captain. Security measures cannot be overemphasized. Security precautions cannot be too much. Life is valuable. So for me, because number one, the state police is recognized by Constitution, and they are the government of the day. They're part of the government of the day. So to me, I would say, if it's possible, engage the Nigerian police as a tourist, engage local vigilante. The vigilante they know the environment. So for example, I think it's high time we start training vigilante people as tourist guard. I think it's high time we start merging them. So at number one, they have both the local and yes, they have the local means to even know their criminals, to know their society. So while you are serving to me as a tour guide, you're also there for my protection. You are gallant, you are ready for anything and all. And let me just give a scenario quickly. I traveled to the south to bury my dad just in the month of January. And while I was making preparation to go, I told my family said we should engage the police. I told my mom, I said, since I work with the military, I will be able to get some soldiers to that place, to guide that place. Somebody still say, oh, one of our family members say, however, even when we are bringing in soldiers, we should not forget that we also have vigilante. So can we also engage the vigilantes to also be there for us? I say, fine. So let's have them around, and also let's have the soldiers. So there will not even be issues, because there's some people that might decide to say, okay, they want to cause trouble on that, but when they see their fellow community people people who are known in that society, who are known in that community, who are vigilantes, who are prepared, ready. They might even talk to themselves. They might go and do their backyard negotiation and say, no, don't try anything here. We're in charge. We're the one keeping this place safe. So don't try anything here. And they'll be able to calm down. Well, me, probably, if I was just using only the government security, maybe that would have not been possible. Maybe there would have been clash, and that will still distort the barrier. That will still affect me. So security measures cannot be overemphasized. You cannot exhaust any kind of security precaution you can take for your own safety, for your own life. That is what I can say.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And we really appreciate. So can you please tell us further security measures that you will advise us to take? Now, we've mentioned something that is very critical, sir, which is very much related. We're going to take this up with the tourism agencies at the private sector level and government level, training community vigilantes as tour guide, so that they can stand as tour guide and also ready to protect tourists. Thank you very much for saying that. Now, in addition to getting that done, in addition to collaborating with the police for police escort, what other security measures do you think we as tour professionals, travel professionals should work on in addition? Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me just say one or two things. Number one, get enough information from the location you are going to. Get enough information from the location you are going to, not just by browsing online, not by going on Google only, but ensure there's real-time information. When I mean real-time information, current information, trending information. And I'll tell you why. You might go and Google a place. You might go and Google a place on the internet, and they tell you the place is safe. It might be that particular morning you are set out to leave. Maybe there's a protest going on, and you'll be caught up in that protest. But you got information that the place is peaceful, but you'll be caught up in that protest. You'll be caught up in, and before you know, you'll be a victim. We had a general in the army who was traveling through Jos Road. The information he got, he didn't go with escort. He drove himself just like an ordinary citizen, and he was caught up. And we know what happened. His body was found in a lake. So it's not.
Looks like we are losing you, sir, Ambassador Peacemaker. This is very critical. All right. While we are trying to wait for him to reconnect, I hope you are taking note of this point. Professionals, okay. Ambassador, if you can hear me, we are losing you.
Enough to only get information of the place you are going to online, but also get people who are on ground. I'm going towards this road. Should I go through this road? Should I go through this route?
Wow. Ambassador, we lost you at the point for network reasons. Please kindly unmute your microphone and recap. At least we've not heard what you have been saying for like about 2 minutes now.
Whoa.
Yes. I know you may not be aware, so we lost you. So you were saying something. I think I was catching a phrase we were saying now, that we should be seeking like security advisory from security agencies.
Okay. Let me start from there. I said it's not enough for you to get information online about the location you are going to. Also get real-time information of the place you are going to. What I mean by real-time information, constantly update security alert. When you're going to a particular area, you might go and find online, do all your research, and they tell you the place is calm, the place is peaceful. But it might be on that particular morning where you are traveling, there's a protest, there's a roadblock, there's some security crisis. Policeman shot somebody. Some people kill some police people, and they are fighting, and you'll be caught in between. So it is very, very important too that you keep getting updates as you are traveling, as you're on the road. Get to know which route should I follow. There was a particular general in the army who drove to say, okay, let me go to around let me use the Jos Road to go to his farm. And he was caught up in a mess. And that's what ended the man's life. His body was found in the lake, a general in the army, but he decided to just drive as an ordinary citizen because probably he didn't hear of any crisis in Jos. But at the time that he was on the road, there was a protest, and that's what ended his life. So it is very, very important that as we are traveling we get real-time information. Then also, let's be very careful of the hotels we check into. As a tourist, try not to go for cheaper hotels. I know, yes, we want the best rate and all, but go for a hotel that is safe, that have good security, where your belongings are, your belongings and your luggage are safe. Because most times you want to go for cheaper hotels. Cheaper hotels are mostly used by criminals, by local criminals. They come there to drink, they come there to hang out, they come there to monitor, to see a guest, and probably they can detect who is coming there with a lady just for a short time, and who is coming there to lodge, who is a stranger. They can detect that, they can see it from your face that this person is not known in this community and all. And they can monitor you, and they can see how to get you or get your belongings and all. So for me, I always don't compromise that part. I try to go for hotels. I know, yes, the economic situation in the country might not really be, but as long as you have set out to go to have a tourism experience, then ensure your safety is key. So go for hotels that are safe and all. And let me quickly add, when you're in some hotel's room and you have made orders, you have had visitors in that community, people have come to visit you, probably went there for an assignment and all. Try not to stay for a particular room for too long. As long as you're paying the hotel, just switch. You can just say that, no, please, I want to change this room. If possible, change the floor. That is very, very key. That is many people don't know that, but I do this most times. Change the room, change the floor. You can even change the floor, you can change the room and all. So probably somebody that has been to your room before, somebody that has visited you, or maybe an housekeeper, a compromised housekeeper who is already used to that floor, to your room, might not find you there and they think you have checked out, but you're still in the hotel and all. So that is one thing. And once in a while, when it is safe in a daylight, take a stroll as a tourist to some place, interact with some locals, the bad, the good, and the ugly. Interact with them. No information that is not important. No information. Interact with them. Just with them. You can buy somebody a drink and say, so how far is this your area? What is going on? How is everything? That little interaction can really give you a whole lot that a professional who has given you a professional advice might not be able to give to you. Somebody can tell you, now so somebody died for this hotel that day. Now I hear they break bottle that. Now I hear they do this. Just that little information. So engage with them. And sometimes bike people have a lot of information. So sometimes when it is safe in a broad daylight, you can just choose not to use a cab. Just pick a bike man. Look for a friendly bike man. Pick him and engage him while you are driving. The bike people have a lot of information. They can tell you a whole lot of places. When I have been to almost all the states I've been to, I touch ground before I make friends, before I reach out to my friends that I'm around. I don't, because I just like having that first-hand experience. So when from the airport, or probably I use a road, once I drop, I want to engage with a bike man. I want to pick somebody and I want to engage him. And most times I know that money is their problem. They need money. So most of the probably I'll say, where can I eat? Can you take me to a very good restaurant right now? I want to eat. And when they take me there, I tell them to come and sit down and eat with me too. I'll tell them, don't worry, I'll pay for your time. It will at most, it will not be more than 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira. So when I tell them to come and eat, and that period that they're eating with you, they'll tell you everything. They will even offer to come and pick you out if you want to go out to any other place. So those little things are very, very key. I can keep going on forever, but I think let me stop here.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. Ambassador Kayode Adeshola, the CEO of TPM Consulting and one of our partners in TTP project, is here with us. He has also been having issues with connecting. Ambassador Kayode, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, you are very welcome. So we have two ambassadors with us. So who is the senior ambassador now? Is it Ambassador Peacemaker or Ambassador Kayode?
Ambassador Kayode.
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael and Captain Emmanuel, and my colleague, my co-ambassador, Peacemaker. Thank you so much. You have been doing very well since I've been listening to you. As we all know, the network has been a challenge since morning, but thank God that finally I'm able to join this great conversation. Thank you, my ambassador. I've listened to you. In fact, Michael will testify to this. A couple of years ago, I think about 4 years now, when we were trying to exploit the city of Sokoto State. We just set out one morning like that, 3 of us, right from my compound at Federal Lugbe. We drove all the way using the Google map to Sokoto State. The whole situation there wasn't as worse as this, because we decided to have fun, to know how one destination or the other looks like. On our journey to Sokoto that year, we had some stops in some of the cities before we got to Sokoto. I could remember when we got to Gusau. Immediately we got to Gusau that evening, we were vaccinated with the street light, and we decided to have a stop at Gusau. So we looked for an hotel, a very beautiful one. We lodged into the hotel and we spent the night. And according to buttress what Ambassador Peacemaker just mentioned, that day, I could remember that we decided to interact with some of the staff of the hotel. We interacted with people around the vicinity, and we were able to get one information or the other. And the positive information that we got gave us the assurance that Gusau is actually a city, a place, a destination that we still needed to visit. But unfortunately, the reverse is now the case. And I could remember again that when we got to Sokoto, like what you said, like the advice you gave to us, we decided not to go as champion that just came from all the way from the FCT, Federal Capital of Nigeria. But what we did then was that we engaged a Keke Napep driver. So that guy happens to be the one that will come to our hotel to move us around the city of Sokoto, and we enjoy it, and we were able to discover a lot of things. So to buttress what Ambassador Peacemaker said, as tour operators, as travel and destination promoter, we need to take the security of our client very seriously. We need to know about the destination. We don't need to go in our flamboyant status. We need to be very serious about the security of our client and to know the terrain before we take our client to such destination. Now, coming back to the question, I think before the floor is open to the general house, I have a question to ask my co-ambassador. Ambassador Peacemaker, is this how we are going to continue? Do you think there is going to be an end to this security challenge in the country? Because now I just got a breaking news now that the bandits just abducted another 300 schoolgirls in Zamfara. And now some people are clamoring that, government should grant amnesty to the bandits is because they are in need of one thing or the other. They needed attention. But another 300 schoolgirls adopted just yesterday night before the daybreak. So how do you think government can provide lasting solution to these challenges? Do you think that amnesty is the solution? Thank you. That is my question.
All right, please make a
Thank you, my fellow ambassador. That's a very touching question. As a matter of fact, as soon as you asked the question, I was touched because when is this going to end? When is this going to end? Cause for serious concern. It's so unfortunate that we have brought politics into everything. We are now playing dirty politics. All the kidnapping you are seeing are just politics. Politics have hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Politics have doing as a country. And it's a pity that is affecting our security. Because I was privileged to a particular information when the Chibok girls were kidnapped. I was privileged to an information when the Chibok girls were kidnapped that that the popular Mama Boko Haram that we know that grew up with those that was used to all those ones were used to, who probably even trained some of those boys. They stayed with her, and she was feeding there at one point, Mama Boko Haram. That when she heard that these girls were kidnapped, she reached out to them and told them that please, Abba, you are taking this too far. Why are you going to kidnap innocent girls? And she begged and begged and begged and begged and begged and begged that they should please return those girls back to their schools. And those boys promised the woman, and said, okay, you are our mother. We are going to bring these girls back. We are going to release these girls. And we got to know that before they will release those girls, the next thing they saw was that they saw the
He's still talking.
Hello, Ambassador. Please.
Hello.
Okay. Sorry,
okay,
please.
Sorry.
Can you go back like 30 seconds from what you said? Yes.
Okay. I said I was privileged to an information. First of all, I say that I'm sad that politics has come into every part of our security. That's information that. So when those boys kidnap those Chibok girls, Zuma reach out to them and beg them to return those girls. They promised to return those girls, and all of a sudden they saw that they saw that even the First Lady of United States of America, the then First Lady, Michelle Obama, had a placard and said, "Bring back our girls." And those boys say, "Wow, so you mean we can be this popular?" So as far as US, they are talking about these girls, and that's why they head on to those girls. That is an information I was privileged to listen to, and that is sad for us because politics has come into everything we are doing. Don't forget that terrorists or bandits or kidnappers want to gain attention. So, for example, some boys were taken from their dormitory and they were released. Now, because the government were ready to negotiate with them. Now, what we are seeing this morning again is the same scenario that is playing out. So, as long as it's profiting, they want to keep doing it, and that is why I'm saying that we need to keep engaging. While we are using the non-kinetic approach, we should also use the kinetic approach. But the non-kinetic approach that I'm saying, I'm not talking about negotiation. You don't negotiate with criminals. They are trying to show that crime is lucrative. Because when I know that when I go into crime, I know that they're going to negotiate with me. But as far as you are taking up arms, as long as you are taking up arms against Nigeria, then you are an enemy of Nigeria, and we need to engage you. Our security forces need to engage you with force, not negotiation. So coming to your question, as you say, is there light at the end of the tunnel? I'm an optimistic person. Thank God Nigeria is a very, very religious country. And thank God, even at one point, we know that the army also called and say, let's engage on spiritual warfare. A lot of people criticize the army and say, oh, does that mean that you guys don't know what to do again, or you are confused? But I think for me, I think that was very, very strategic. We're a very prayerful nation, and we could see what happened with the COVID-19. We could see, despite a lot of people are dying in other parts of the world, but we could see what God is doing for us as a country. So I'm a very optimistic person, and that's how I will come back to say, whenever I hear people planning, sometimes they'll say some headsmen have decided, I will hear allegation that, oh yes, I don't know how true they are, that some headsmen want to wipe this ethnic cleansing. When I hear all their plans, the only phrase I used to see, the only statement I used to make at the end, I will say, let men keep planning as if they are God, but they can never be God. So I think that is the way I will answer your question. While we are trusting our security forces, let's keep praying for them. Nigeria is a prayerful nation, and we are religious. Let's trust God that no matter those who have planned and say that they want to cause tension in the country, they want blood, they want to keep causing problems in this country. Let them keep planning, let them keep discussing, but they should not forget that their lives is in God's hand. And we have access to that God. We are going to engage that God, and let's see how their plans will come to be. There have been so many elections in the country that people have said, oh, this election is going to be bloody. Churches will pray, mosques will pray, and we'll find out that most of these elections were conducted and Nigeria was saved. So that is one of my answers. I would say, let's keep praying. Let's trust God that those few cabals who believe that they have their life in their hand, who think they are the Almighty, they should go ahead and keep planning, but we know that they are not God. We will prevail and they'll be light at the tunnel because God will surely see us through. Our lives were created by God. God preserves his own. God keeps his own. So they should go ahead. God is our first security. And that is why, and that has always been my watchword. That's why I've been to most of all those high tense places where there are crises and all, because once I pray and I believe that God is telling me to go, I go, and I'm not scared of anything. Yes, it's good to put physical security in place, but our first security is God. So my brother, I would say there's light in the tunnel because we're a prayerful nation where we believe in God in our country, and we have not thrown God at the backside like other countries have done. So that answers the question. One day we will prevail by the grace of God.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Sorry, please. I just want to quickly say this. We don't have a time on our hands again, and we need to take people's questions. We need to also, I don't know if you have any question. Can you just maybe put it up on the chat or just unmute yourself, or I don't know how we're going to coordinate this because we need to take like 1 or 2 questions. I know some of you have questions for our facilitator, our guest speaker today, and for us to just take it quickly. But while we're taking that question, I want to ask you, Ambassador Peacemaker,
yes,
your name is Peacemaker, and you are actually in the business of making peace and ensuring security. Is that a coincidence? This is by the way.
I just pray I'm not sounding too religious, but with God, there's nothing like coincidence. It has been predestined, it has been planned. You know, even me too, sometimes I'm amazed, you know. I see myself with what I'm doing in Nigeria with my name. So I think it truly re-echoed the saying that names follow people, and we should be careful of the kind of names we give to ourselves or we give to our children. So that's what I would say.
All right. So please, do we have any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
All right. Let me come in there, Mr. Michael.
To say you can.
With your permission.
Okay.
I'd like to quickly chip it in.
All right. Go ahead, Captain.
And it is very, very informative, practical sessions that we've had so far. Before Ambassador Peacemaker came, we were talking about the domestic tourism on the global level. I was highlighting 1 or 2 things, and now he has brought the practical dimension. Those advices he has given to us, we need to go to work. I'm very, very happy that all stakeholders are here. On the issues that Ambassador has mentioned, we need to go to work on them. And then I will also use this time, because I saw in the chat room that Ruby Travels and Tours have already indicated that they are interested in this certificate. So please, at this point, before we take 2 questions by voice from 2 of our participants, because we only have 2 to take. We want to rally it up later by 12:30, so we have just 15 minutes more to do this. If you are interested in this certificate of participation for this workshop, because this, you agree with me that this is a workshop. So this certificate of participation is available just for 2,000 naira, okay? And you can have your name on it. You can also have your agency name on it. So this is just a sample of that certificate for Fatima Taiwo Chukuma. This guy is actually Nigerian because he's a combination of the 3 major languages we have. So you can have your name on the certificate for 2,000 naira. We will definitely want you to drop your details in the chat room. Just indicate in the chat room that you are interested in the certificate. And then we also have the email addresses and phone numbers of some of the registered participants. Many of them are not here, maybe because of the network issues. So we'll also get across to them. So we will definitely make the account details available for you to make payment for the certificate. This workshop needs to happen again. Ambassador Kayode, I don't know if you are on the same page with me. I think we need to have a physical edition on this same topic of security and safety, where we will bring Ambassador Peacemaker to a physical session, because we must have edition 2.0 of this.
Let me just add this, Captain. Sorry, while you are here, Peacemaker is I've not discussed this with him officially, but I believe that we can get. In fact, I'm not sure he will be the only one to be interested in this. Peacemaker, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So we can see how we can bring in army, some military personnel and some military stakeholders in this physical engagement, and maybe we can plan that extensively. But I'm sure that it's going to be a robust meeting for us to get this done. So I don't know. I want to seek your commitment, live on this program now, that we can engage into planning of this physical meeting. Are you game?
Yes, I'm game, and I can connect. We can do a live connection to one of the military troops that are in the Northeast that are currently fighting the war, and have a direct question and answer session. So they tell us live while we are doing the physical workshop, and tell us what is going on there, the scenario, and what they have seen so far for people that are visiting. Because I won't lie to you, as I said earlier, that NGOs are mostly in the Northeast. There are plenty in that place. The hotels are filled up with NGOs, and most of them, the military provide assistance for them and all. So I think they'll be able to share one or two things that they have noticed, one or two things that they have put in place and all.
All right, thank you very much. So, Captain, over to you, please. Captain, you are mute. Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you for telling me. Ambassador Peacemaker, thank you very much. That's what I was saying. We really appreciate that, because I think we need to have a physical edition on this where we have that session, video session with live troops. It's going to be fantastic. The planning has started already. Immediately this webinar ends, so that we can, engage and hear from the perspective of the ministry and bring tourism to the forefront. Thank you very much, Ambassador. So I've seen some people's response in the chat room concerning the certificate, and then I want you to also know that we want 2 questions to round up this webinar today from our participants. So if you are interested, if you have a question for our resource person, Ambassador Peacemaker, you might want to drop the question in the chat room or raise a hand. I will unmute you, and then you can ask your question directly. But we have only chance for 2 people, because we want to put a stop to this and bring this webinar to a close on the dot of 12:30 on or before. So raise your hand or drop your question in the chat room if you have a question for our security expert, our resource person. Okay, I have Alabi Adebola Tinuke. You just raise your hand.
You can unmute yourself.
If you have a question, your hand is down now. Please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, thank you. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Please unmute yourself. Your microphone is still muted.
I've done that.
Okay,
I've done that.
We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Wow, network. We are losing you. We can't hear you.
You can type it.
Please sincerely thank everybody.
Okay.
Because this issue of tourism, as says in the hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, I said I sincerely appreciate all the spokespersons, the results people.
Very terrible.
Yeah, I want to ask a question that used to bother me. Something to protect themselves all night and their eventual. Hello? Hello?
Yes, continue.
We
can hear you. Yes.
Hello? Hello? Yes. Now, for people in Nigeria, because now that this kind of a training, I think this one will put a rest to people outside Nigeria, because those of us in Nigeria too were afraid of going out now. But now for people in Nigeria, it is not possible for every one of us to go around with something to defend ourselves. In a situation whereby you have your people along the line with you to go for a tourist, to go for a to go and site for a site, and along the line you are cut off by all these bandits. Even when you have security along with you, what is the next thing to do? This really bothered me a lot, because there are some things that we're supposed to do now, we cannot do it. I don't know what we should do. Thank you very much. That's my question.
Okay.
All right.
So if we get your question right, you said that how do we protect ourselves in the face of attack, right?
Yes, that's the question.
Okay, well, I think Ambassador Peacemaker should answer this, but I would just say that there is a natural impulse for every man, you know, to, you know, in the face of attack, you would definitely have to defend yourself whichever way you can, okay, and still want to stay alive. So, but Peacemaker, you've been in the forest, you've been in the face of some of these things. Can you let's have your viewpoint on this?
You say I've been in the forest.
You are used to them.
I think that is a very touching question, and we, just as I said, that our life is very, very important. So to me, I would say go to places that are safe. Yes, we want to still do our business, but it's someone that is alive that will spend the money. When you are gone, you are gone. So I think we can recraft this business. For me, I think we can go to safer places. Then we can tell, we can say, oh, sorry, you can tell your client, I'm sorry, we might not be able to tour this place for now, but I think there's another alternative. So that's why we need to start looking for options. There are other alternatives. Have you been to social places? Do you know there's another different waterfall in social parts? The people are like, wow, are you serious? In that state, you say yes, you can divide their attention, you can market on that place to them. Then also, if not for the COVID-19, which I believe people are still traveling, also I think you can start exploring other nearby African countries. For example, for me, I'll be telling some of my friends, I say I want to see if I can partner with a tourism organization to take some people to tour one of those nearby African countries. For example, I've toured Rwanda, I've been to Rwanda, I've been to Dubai, but that was before the COVID-19. But I think if our country is not safe, then we can tour other places. We can go to nearby African countries. We can go to safer places. So and I think for that is a wake-up call to our government to know that yes, we are losing so much, and
yes,
they need to quickly see how they can solve this problem. But I think to answer your question directly, let's tour safer places. Let's rechannel and let's divert our clients' attention to other better places for our own safety and for their own safety. Then also let's look for nearby African countries. A lot of people want to travel. Some people just want to go out. Some people want to they are hearing, even as close as Ghana. Some people are hearing Ghana. They want to see what Ghana look like. Some people want to go to that beautiful Accra city. Some people want to go to Burundi, Rwanda, all those places. Some people want to just have a feel of what it is. And so I think we can start exploring that too, and till those places that I want to go to in our country become safe.
Fantastic response from you, Ambassador, because just recently, I have an ambassador friend actually in Somalia who has actually been on my neck saying that Somalia is safe now, that there's no more terrorism, and that you want us to come and see the agri-tourism aspect of their industry in Somalia. So you have given us 3 responses to that particular question, because it's a very important question, and because this is a workshop, and I want our participants to keep forming notes, because we are going to be giving you a certificate because you participated, and participating means you have key points. Ambassador Peacemaker mentioned 3 points on that issue. Number 1, we should travel to safe places. Number 2, let's explore other places. We can begin to market other destinations that are even not, that are unpopular destinations that are safe. And then he said we can also, travel to other African countries that are safe. Although we will not want to do that because we are trying to promote domestic tourism. When we visit other African countries, we are taking our naira to promote their own economy. So I think, like you rightly also remarked, I think this is a wake-up call to our government that they need to do the right thing. Like you mentioned a point that I also want our clients, our participant rather, to take as a take-home point. Why government is using non-kinetic approach with trying to, engage them in conversation or dialogue. They should also use kinetic approach. Let them engage militarily. And because we must not communicate to everybody that crime pays, government will give amnesty and mentorship. Thank you very much, Ambassador Peacemaker. That is how much we are going to take on this edition of the TTP TRAVELSAFE Workshop 1.0, because this is first edition. So looking forward to the second edition on this same topic, where we're going to have a physical and a virtual sessions with live troops. Thank you, Ambassador Peacemaker, for giving us your commitment. We really, really appreciate you. And thank you for those insight, practical insight. For me personally, my take-home point from this workshop is that we need to start training community vigilantes as tour guides. And TTP Tourism, we have a training arm of this collaborative partnership. We are going to get our boots on the ground in that particular aspect. We're going to also engage tourism stakeholders because we have all these vigilante in different communities. We can even start in our nearby community. Different places have estates and we have community vigilante. All these destinations now, we need to go there. In Jesha waterfalls, we have the Fanirua waterfall. The vigilante community in those places, we engage them in tourism training. Thank you very much for bringing that point home, Ambassador Peacemaker. And for every one of us that we are participating live, it's a wonderful session so far. We've done 2.5 hours.
Sorry, Captain.
Yes, Michael, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
I think we had Madam Nara with us.
Yes, but she's not in the room anymore. She's not in the room anymore. We will have taken her remarks, yes. We'll have taken her remarks. Actually, the time that I wanted her to take her remarks was when Ambassador Peacemaker came back to the room, and we needed him to share those professional insights with us. So Madam Nara is not in the room with us, but we still acknowledge her presence. She was largely for about 1.5 hours was in the room listening, and then I'm very, very sure that she and her team will be very much on ground in the physical edition that we're going to come up with very, very, very soon. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Michael, can I go ahead and close the webinar?
Yes.
Or do you have any other thing?
Yes, please.
All right. So I want to give a resounding applause to every one of you that you have actually been with us since 10 a.m. Your patience, your tenacity, your understanding so far, even when network issues were really, really battering us. We really appreciate that. You can see I'm giving you the applause already. This is from me and from every member of the TTP team in person of Ambassador Kayode Adeshola of TPM Consulting, Mr. Michael Oyetunji of Numa Leisure and Travels, and then myself, I'm Captain Emmanuel of TBS International. Okay, thank you very much. I know some people were trying to make their remark. Thank you very much. I have muted everybody so that we can have decorum in the room. But I still appreciate all of you. So like I said, on behalf of myself, as Captain Emmanuel of TBS International, a very comfortable visionary member of the TTP team, Ambassador Kayode Adeshola, founder of TPM Consulting, who has actually brought all of us together. He is the stakeholder father of this partnership. And then Mr. Michael Oyetunji of Nima Leisures. The TTP Tourism team is appreciating you for the time you have spent with us and the time to be fantastic. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for the questions. Ambassador, thank you very much also for being with us today.
Thank you.
Shared valuable insight with us today. So on this note and at this time, we would like to bring this webinar, this workshop to a close. And once again, to those of us that we are interested in the certificate of participation, please drop your details in the chat room, because I will leave the room open for another 5 minutes so that we can all drop our interest, because we are going to be contacting you one after the other with the account details for payment. This certificate of participation is 2,000 naira only. And then watch out for the coming physical edition and other editions of the TTP workshops that we're going to be having. It's going to be a monthly thing. In fact, in another 1 week, we'll come up with another topic, very, very important topic that we are going to also invite you. So we're going to be doing this frequently, and then we come back again on the physical edition on this topic of domestic tourism, safety and security. So thank you very much, and then God bless you all. We want to appreciate the presence of Madam Nara Patricia again, who is our special guest on this platform, on this workshop, from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the Department of Domestic Tourism, Domestic and Ecotourism. She's the director at that department. Thank you very much, Madam Nara, for being with us today on this edition. So thank you very much, everyone. We, as hosts of this workshop, we will wait while we give permission to our ambassador, Peacemaker, to give our final closing remark and take his leave. His final closing remark, and then it is so. Ambassador Peacemaker, just give us your final remark, 30 seconds, and then we will humbly wait for you to take your leave. Then participant will leave, and then we will be here while everybody leaves the platform. Ambassador Peacemaker.
Okay, I want to round up by saying that security agencies cannot be everywhere. Crime are perpetrated by, their crimes are committed by individuals, by fellow human beings, not by animals, not by aliens. So our neighbors, people that live around us, when we see unusual movement, when we see something, we should be able to report to the appropriate authority. Be your brother's keeper. Let's report and pass information to security agencies. And also let's continue to pray for our country. That is not, that we cannot overdo that. Let's continue to pray for our country, and we trust God that one day all this will be history. Thank you so much, and God bless every one of you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We can take your leave now officially. And I want every one of us as participants to look at our screen now. This is our own take-home point from the TTP tourism team. The key learning points for this workshop is that all forms of safety and security incidents have negatively affected their image and can decline tourist arrivals. So peace, safety, and security, they are the primary conditions for sustainable and successful tourism development. This is our closing remark from the TTP team, and thank you very much for being with us today. So on behalf of myself, once again, and my team, thank you for participating, and see you very, very soon. So we'll be here while we allow you to leave one after the other. If you're still interested in the certificate of participation, please indicate in the chat room before you leave. We're going to get across to you with the account details for your payments. You're going to receive this certificate in two formats, the digital copy and also the hard copy. So we're going to contact you so that we can have the location where we are going to deliver your hard copy. At the same time, we'll give you a digital copy to your email. Please indicate your interest in the certificates while we are going. We have a hand up from B Dazzling Travels. You can unmute your microphone, ma'am. B Dazzling Travels. Okay. All right. Please kindly unmute yourself. B Dazzling Travels, your hand is up if you have a comment.
I'm interested.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
I'm interested.
So please, for all of us that we are interested, can we please drop our phone numbers in the chat room so we can, message your WhatsApp numbers, please, so that we can message account details to you guys directly to your WhatsApp. That will be faster. That will be more effective. So if you're interested in the certificate, please drop your WhatsApp phone number in the chat room. That will make it faster for us to reach you, so that we can even put your okay. Information is just reaching me that we are going to be pushing the soft copies immediately.
after this event. So please kindly drop your WhatsApp phone numbers. So we can drop the soft copies. So indicate with your WhatsApp phone number and then indicate the name you want to be on the certificate. Please drop it. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. What name do you want on the certificate? Is it your personal name or is it the name of your agency? Drop it and drop it with your WhatsApp phone number so that we can contact you. Thank you very much. Yes, I can see responses in the chat room. Let's continue to drop it. Let's continue to drop it. Thank you very much for joining us. We are coming up again with you shortly with another training in maybe a week or two. So immediately after this particular workshop, you're going to be seeing us send it to your emails and to your WhatsApp. Another topic, fantastic topic that we are bringing on again with a very fantastic facilitator. So please kindly drop your WhatsApp number and the names you want to be on your certificate. Thank you very much. And then you can take your leave also, because we as the host must be here while you take your leave. If you don't leave, you can't. Thank you very much. Yes, be dazzling travels and tours. I love that name. We received your own input. Alabe Adebola Tinuke. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So also, we are going to be sending you the link. Thank God I remember to say that. We're going to be sending you the link for the live stream, the YouTube link of this edition, so that you can actually listen over and over to this webinar. Don't forget that this is a workshop. It's actually a training. So you should go over in your spare time with the YouTube link of this particular webinar. This webinar is being recorded on 2 levels. We are doing a YouTube link which you can go back to. We have also a cloud recording which we are going to make available to you guys. But the YouTube link will be readily available immediately. We're going to share it on all the platforms. So go back and listen, especially the slide presentation that we did on safety and security on the global level, and then how we can now domesticate it. And then Ambassador Austin's peacemakers reactions. Those security measures he asked us to put in place, they are very, very important. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Yes, Ms. Alabi Atinuke, thank you very much. You said that yeah, the training is highly appreciated, educative, and interesting. God bless you too, and thank you for sharing your time with us. All right, sir.